Stories, I'm a fool for your love.
Hey guys, you join me here at Snowman86 and we are on version 1 of Cattle and Crops. So we've been playing around with it a little bit in the background, just figuring out a couple of things on the new features and stuff. And must say, I admit some features are still missing from the game. But for the most part, for a first day launch, it's not a bad game at all. Definitely worth a try. Has a lot of features that you would think the likes of Farming Sim and stuff would have, considering how long Farming Sim is in the game. But it doesn't, so we'll let this car pass. But Farming Sim doesn't have those features, whether you will see them in the base game of Cattle and Crops. And the biggest two for me is soil deformation. So when you go through the ground, you actually leave a tractor. And the other big one then is soil nutrient levels. So you really got to take care of your soil. So when you're planting your crops, you get the best out of them. So they're the biggest two kind of innovations in the game that are in the base game, which is fantastic to see. So there's lots of other small things then that will be coming down the line, but they have, I do believe, soil compaction is working again. And another big one that they got working is the ability to get stuck, whether that's a good or bad thing. I don't know, considering that I suppose um, there's no multiplayer yet, so if you do get stuck, it's an effort to pull yourself out, and you might see that there, a little rabbit on the road. That's another neat little feature. They do have they class it as wildlife, the likes of deer and rabbits and things like that. Kind of, they'll just randomly be in the map in different areas, and when you get close to them, they'll always kind of run away, so they don't create a stoppage on a higher worker or anything like that, or they don't interfere with any of the vehicles, so they will run away, but you will see them. Um, that's my second or third rabbit I've seen while driving the roads, and I've also seen a deer in the field, but as we were driving up towards him, he was disappearing. So, just nice little features like that are in the game. So it's an exciting old time. So, it'll be interesting to see what developments come in the next couple of months with this game. It's definitely one to keep an eye on. For those of you who are on the fence, I can see why you're on the fence, but hopefully you'll get a chance to maybe trial it or even just play a little bit yourself and see. Um, it is just quite a good game. Something that will please some people. The trees now have collisions, but you can turn that off if you want. So they're giving you a couple of options on realism, and collisions is one of them. Now bushes and stuff, you can still kind of drive through a bush, but anything big, um, all these signposts and stuff now are all collidable objects. So you really just have to be careful. So what have we got planned for today? I suppose the good news is our previous save we were playing through has been kept, so we can keep playing that. I'm going to leave it up to you guys to decide, I suppose, what you want to see. Do you want to see some of the scenarios and tutorials? I've done a few of them just to see what it's all about, and they range from as basic as showing you how to walk the player, enter vehicles, move vehicles around, to doing proper headlands, field work, sowing. There's also extensive fertilization, harvesting, and it goes through hired helpers. So the tutorial system is good for anybody who's new to the game. I would highly recommend dropping in there. There is some scenarios or some tutorials even you'll do, and they mightn't take long, maybe 10-15 minutes, but it does feel like a bit of a drag. Now I'm only saying that myself because I've played the game the last year and a half, 2 years, so I have a fair understanding of the controls. But for the new person coming in, it's just, it goes right from the top right to the very, or right from the bottom to the very top in explaining how this game works, which I think is fantastic. and you have a couple of different career options then as well. So you can do the career option, which means that it kind of, I won't say forces you down to tutorial road, but if you do the scenarios and stuff, which you have to do the tutorials to unlock, it then kind of slowly releases equipment to you, so you can't just jump in, buy the biggest tractor or the biggest seeder and all the fields and start playing. It doesn't work like that, so you kind of start small and build up, but you can jump straight in as well to sandbox mode is what they call it, and basically everything is unlocked. You can do what you want when you want, provided obviously you've got the money. So for now we're just going to pull up here. We have our fertilizer spreader on the back and we're looking to spread some, I think it's K is what we're looking for. So we're going to select our value here. We're just looking for granule fertilizer. Don't think we need a whole pile, but we'll kind of go with a half fill and see how we go. All our fields need it. They need about 70 kilograms will be our spread rate, so while that's filling we can be setting that. If it'll even let us set that. So we'll go 75. That's not too bad. Working with, we'll bump it out to 18. So as I said, lots of nice little features. Also in the tutorial system is a very good explanation of the fertilizer calculator. And kind of once you go through it, it does make it a lot easier for predicting, especially your spread rates and stuff like that. I still don't get the fill levels, but I'll figure that out as we go through it here. So we're going to be doing two spreads. One is going to be the granular fertilizer here, K, and the other one we might use might rent. We'll see how money is going. The liquid spreader, liquid sprayer even, and we might go for some nitrogen straight on like that. So we'll get ourselves back here to the farm. In terms of graphics and stuff, I think there's a couple of options that were there that are missing, which is no harm. I think one is the density of the vegetation, so that I can't see that, or it's not in where I think it should be. So with that missing, I think the game is pretty rendering pretty well here. I don't have shadows turned up to max just yet, but I do have texture detail set at ultra, so our cab is looking pristine here. And the other thing you want to play around when you first get it is the field of view. When I started up, mine was a little bit disorientating. Things that were should have been furthest away looked the biggest, and it was just kind of backwards for me. It just felt wrong. So we did a bit of playing around. We got that right, and as I say, yeah, did a couple of tutorials and just messed about really. But I must say, pleasantly impressed with the way the game has developed. And I'm hoping here once we do one field that we'll be somewhat right for our NPK levels in our field. If not, it'll be a little bit of egg on my face, but we're used to that. So now don't get me wrong, there's still a way to go with this game. By no means am I saying it's the finished article and it's the best game since whatever, sliced bread you might say, but definitely not saying that. There's still room for improvement, but with it being moddable, now I do believe it's a little bit trickier to mod for this than it is for Farm Sim. So that might take a bit of time to see some mods. I think there is a couple of mods out already for it. Most of them be found on Mod Hoster. But it's just definitely one to keep an eye on. As I say, the AI in it, I think by far, we're going to try and jump that vent. The AI is by far some of the best AI I've seen in a farming series. To me, the way it is like you're playing with a default course play is probably the best way of putting it. You'll set your AI out and he will do it. He will finish the task. So very rarely, I've yet to see anybody get stuck in trees or anything silly like that, or an obstacle. They tend to avoid it. What I did find sometimes was when using multiple AI in a field, either harvesting or something like that, you might have an issue between which trailer comes next, and kind of you might get two tractors kind of fighting over each other to get you, which is a bit strange, but I think that might have been sorted. I haven't tested it myself, so I don't know for sure, but from what I read in the change logs and stuff, it seems that they have gotten a handle on it. Other nice little features here. We're just going to come to kind of a slow. If you look at the dash, you'll see now. I can even probably zoom in on it for you. So you see the cruise control of 15 is set. You'll change it to cruise control 2. Cruise control 3 is set at 50. So, and then it disappears when you have it off. So all nice features. We have flashy lights. I thought we had hazard lights in this vehicle, but we mustn't have. That's a bit too far back. But it also shows you the four-wheel drive symbols, engine running, the direction you're traveling, all your gauges work. So it's really just, I don't know why we went back to the farm. Got lost in my thoughts there, but no handbrake with it. So we'll just put on the handbrake. You see, you get the symbol for that. And the other nice feature that comes in this game is the interactive cabs. So you'll see at the moment, if you hold down one of your control buttons, you can open and close doors from within the cab, which is nice. But it's when you get to areas like this, I think it really comes into its own. So we'll see up here now, we have the ability to turn on our lights. Once we turn on our lights, we get the option for beacon lights, rear work lights, front work lights, front high beams, low beams. So you can toggle all these individually, or you can hotkey them as well if you like. So that is nice. And then if we scroll down here, obviously we have our hazard lights here. You have turn engine on and off. This one is toggle four-wheel drive, so if we hit that, I thought the green button here might change on the dash, but it didn't. We can also, oh, that's our door, sorry. I think in some of the tractors you might be able to change this window as well. You can obviously lift your steering wheel up out of the way, bring it back down. You have a high control, and you have wipers here. Again, door, sunroof access. So we have now our sunroof open. So on a warm day we can crack it open and get going, and we can close it fully. And coming around the back, we also have a rear window which we can shut down, and again you'll notice the sound effects do change ever so slightly upon doing that. So just a couple of the nice little features that are pre-built into the game, no need for modding, and that's why I think the modding will be a little bit trickier, because it's got more involved in it. But knowing the amount of smart people and clever people that are out there, I'm sure once there's kind of a way figured out around it, people will be flying again. So I think it's here we need to, so yeah, we might as well start on field. Nope, we don't need field 14, it's pretty good. So we're going to go for field, what's that, 15 and 13, and probably 16 will need it, will it? 16 needs it as well. So we have kind of a different spread rate for all of them. This one is going to be 70, 75 is actually pretty good. So we'll do a quick U-turn. So I'm just going to try and find where I was in the cab a while ago. I think this is roughly it. So we're just going to stop here and we're going to bring up our field guidance system. So this is going to be there. That's a little bit. Move to center of tractor. We need to get our working width right. And initial track offset. We'll keep going here. We might even increase our working width to get the whole field in one pass. In fact, we're not far off of there with it being set to 18. So we're going to go 24 degrees. We'll push it back this way just a fraction. That is saying 24 meters is our working width, which if we go back in here, I don't think we'd have set to 24. So we're going to work off, can I get it to 30? There. So we're going to get it to 30 and we will try resetting the working width. In fact, I'd say even 27 is probably going to be good enough for us. And we shift everything again. So there's a little bit of playing around here just to get it kind of right. 27 isn't bad. We'll leave it on 30 though. And we won't quite engage the auto steer yet, so we're going to just readjust our track here. Avoid the tree because that's how you get stuck. So, not sure, we're just gonna hit reverse here. Don't want to be making too many tracks on our field. So if we just do this, engage, and then we're gonna wind our GPS all the way down. Slow to come down, but we'll get it down to about 10. We're going to stop once more. We'll get this eventually. So the next thing we want to do, we're spreading potassium, so we want to highlight that. And you see our mini map changes. So now if we hit here, spreader is on. Is our auto steer working? Don't think auto steer is kind of working, is it? It is. So once we've spread this at 75, according to my maths, our potassium level in the field should be right. It doesn't look like it's changed the whole pile on the map. So we're just going to shut off, handbrake on, and if we jump back in here, we're working on field 15. So it's good, but it's not great. It still says we need another 30, so I wonder if we do a second pass. Shouldn't have been the case. So we will try a second pass. we have now adjusted a couple of things, so still a bit trial and error. So I noticed the steering wheel still is a little bit buggy. So you'll see it's kind of making new fresh tram lines, which is fantastic. But our field is starting to slowly green up. I wonder again, are we just traveling a bit too fast maybe? So there is a lot of different things that affect spread rate. So speed is one of them. Obviously the spread rate setting the machine is another. This is looking a lot better. So I think in terms of spread there now we've done a bit better, so we'll just quickly jump in again and check on our field. This is one thing I don't like, the menus don't state where you had it, it always resets itself to default. So now you can see we're a little bit high, so we'll leave it at that. It's not too bad, it's about 20 over, is it? 20 kilograms per hectare, higher than what we need, so, and we did bump our thing up by about that, so we'll see. This one again needs the 70 mark, so we're going to leave it set at 100 and see what happens. Oh, handbrake on. So this is kind of what we're at in our previous save. As I say, this is the save that we would have done all our tutorials previously on, our missions on. So that's why we are working on this one. If you want to see something from the ground up, we can do a fresh save as well. Reset. So what's the best value to put in here? We'll go 500. 500 is a bit strong, but we can bring it back somewhere here. Do a quick one turn, so that's not bad. So I'm noticing to get the auto steer to kick in my steering wheel, I might have to set a bit of a bigger dead zone potentially than what we currently have set. But oh, we can see our maize here is actually starting to sprout. That's lovely. But what we seem to be suffering with is the steering wheel center point doesn't seem to be releasing our GPS, so maybe that's just a dead zone, so we will add a tiny one and test it again. And another nice feature here about this game is the way the crops grow. It's not so much of a painted texture that changes, it grows consistently, so I think it starts under the ground. Well, ball patch starts underground and kind of grows up through it. So if we go in here, you can see that it's actually kind of under the ground and it's just slowly, the height of it is coming up. So that's where we're getting these small little specks now across the field, and you'll see it's a pretty good growth rate down here. So we've got a nice bit standing up, and obviously wind is affecting it there. So I'll give you the direction the wind is blowing. And if we again jump back out, check our field, I think we're in field 13 now. We're after getting up to the 170 mark, so strange. We're adding 100 kilograms per hectare, but it's not going up by 100. So that is weird. So we could increase our spread rate again by a fraction just for the next couple of fields that need 70% spread in them. I think this is one. This needs more than 70. This needs nearly 100. So we can add that. This one is a 70. Alright, I zoomed all the way out. That was a poor choice. And what are we looking at here? 70 again. This one has nothing, and that's the field I got absolutely nothing, so we might see how that goes. We need 70 and we need 70, so it's kind of an even spread rate bar the one here, which I think needs more than 100. So we are going to continue ourselves, and we are going to knock out a couple of these fields, and we might come back when we are spreading nitrogen on them, and we do a little bit of that with the, as I say, liquid sprayer. But as I say, guys, if there's anything in particular you want to see about this game, be it a fresh start through the career mode, where you're limited on vehicles and stuff until you kind of play through and unlock them, or do you want to, will we just keep progressing with this save that we currently have, where we have some of the gear, we have some of our fields, we've 21,000 now in the bank after buying that fertilizer, so we can see how it all plays out. Excuse me. So I'll let that be your decision. Whatever you want to kind of see features wise, by all means let me know. In the meantime, I am going to be plugging away on these videos now, try and get them out. We finally have version 1, so excited to see it. So we'll get as much time in it as we can, and as I say, guys, as always, thanks very much for watching. I've been Snowman86, and as always, we'll see you again. Take care.